TJ Watt is in the hospital with a lung condition. We'll get you all the details here on the Locked On Steelers podcast, as well as a look forward into the football weekend. I'm Chris Carter here with Josh Taylor today. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Steelers, your daily Pittsburgh Steelers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter, bringing you your daily dose of all things on the Pittsburgh Steelers. As always, you can find the show on your favorite podcasting apps and on YouTube. Like this video if you enjoy it. Subscribe to this YouTube channel to get all of your daily Monday through Friday episodes. We thank you for making us your first listen every day because we're your team every day. And today's video, just a reminder, we are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is now the #1 sports podcasting network in the world. As I said before, we're joined by the man himself, Josh Taylor. You know him. You love him from KDKA TV, your TV host there. We always love to have Josh on talking football. But, yeah, we'd be remiss if we not say that this is not a great Friday for Steelers fans and for the Steelers' arguably best player, TJ Watt. He was announced by the Steelers to have been hospitalized Wednesday after a treatment situation where he had a lung condition. Now, we don't have all the details right now. We're recording this late Thursday night. We do not know what's happening here. All we know is that from a statement from the team, and then I got to talk to Mike Tomlin and a few of the players at the facility. But basically, the team said it's a condition. His status for the Monday Night Football game against the Miami Dolphins is in question. Mike Tomlin said he spoke with TJ Watt. He said TJ Watt was quote unquote comfortable. I want to play a clip here shortly from Alex Highsmith to give you the sense that he had from talking to TJ Watt. But Josh, before we get to Alex Highsmith, this is TJ Watt. We know that the Steelers have a terrible record without him. I think they're 1-10 all time since he's joined the team. When he doesn't play, they don't win football games. But I think the scary thing is that for him to go to the hospital and to be in question to play a game 5 days in advance, it says something kind of serious happened here.
Chris, there's a rule of thumb when you do what we do, and I know you have your TV duties as I have mine. Mine have changed significantly over the past couple of years. I'm used to talking about his status for a game or if he's injured or whether or not he's in the injury report. But since I've moved to the news side of things, there's a rule of thumb. If we're talking about something that happened to a player in the A block of a news show, that's usually not good news. And that's what this becomes. When we're talking about TJ Watt on the news part of the news show, that's when it becomes a major thing. And I was actually out in the field reporting on a completely different story when that alert came across my phone. And it was one of those things where, at first you look at it, you're thinking, oh, maybe he tweaked something in practice. Oh, no, he's in the hospital because something happened and it's an off day. That's something that's going to perk your ears up. And I think that caught everybody off guard. So, yeah, that becomes a big issue. And it's not even just the record of the team when he doesn't play. Now it's hey, this sounds like a serious health thing, because when I started reading the details, the first thing that comes to my mind is, and some might think this is a worst case scenario, and I'm not trying to make it that, first thing I think is Tyrod Taylor when he was with the Chargers. And your brain goes there and you're going, how did we get to this point? So there's a lot of questions that we probably won't know answers to anytime soon. But yeah, it becomes a big deal as far as how serious this is, what his status for this game is, and if they can really get through this week in this Monday night home game. I don't want to call it a must win, but it's a really important win for them to lock down if they can get it. And doing that without TJ Watt just becomes a lot harder.
It does. If you wanted to get a sense of how the team's feeling, Alex Highsmith, the guy who's works very closely with TJ Watt at the outside linebacker position, I got a chance to talk to him. Here was him in the Steelers locker room talking about TJ Watt's situation on Thursday.
Situation here. I mean, some things are bigger than football, and it seems like this is one of those cases.
Yeah, I mean, we've been checking on him throughout yesterday and throughout this morning, and so we know that he's doing better. But it definitely hurts. One of your teammates is in the hospital, and so we're just reaching out to him, knowing that we're praying for him. But he's been getting better. So it's just definitely a scary situation, tough situation. And so, like I said, I've just been praying for him. I know he's getting better.
So you guys have been in contact with him. What are his spirits like right now? Just when you do get to talk to him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think his spirits are good. Like I said, he's getting better. I saw him yesterday when he was in here, and so like I said, I've just been reaching out. I've been praying for him to get better. So no, he is, and hopefully he'll be ready for the Sunday. But we'll see what happens. But like I said, it sucks when one of your teammates is in a situation like this, a scary situation. So I think it's all reaching out, knowing one another that we're here for him.
So I think it's encouraging that Alex Highsmith's, at least saying like, hey, we're hoping that he can play this weekend. He said Sunday, of course, Monday, it's, there's a lot going on there and you're processing a lot. But so Josh, there's that there. Now, the first thing that everyone thought of was Tyrod Taylor and the infamous, game where he was the Chargers starting quarterback while Justin Herbert was, being groomed to become the franchise guy for the Chargers behind him. And then one morning before a game, he's supposed to get a shot in his ribs to help with pain, and the shot is administered wrong. It punctures a lung, and then he can't play. And then Justin Herbert gets his first career start, and then it's Justin Herbert's show since then. And so everyone thinks that, but listening to just different sports doctors that have given their opinion, talk about this on just in the public airwaves, it seems like that's unlikely for what happened. We don't know for sure. Again, this is just based off of what people are saying. They're saying that stuff usually happens on the day of a game. If this was a Wednesday, that was 5 or 6 days ahead of a game day, or I guess 5 days ahead of a game day, this wouldn't be this wouldn't be that type of something that happened. I've seen some people theorize it was a blood clot, and that if it is a blood clot, that could be his season, because that's a very serious condition. That if it went from his leg to his lung. But again, it's all speculation. We don't know. Mike Tomlin didn't give any further details. So there's going to be a lot of speculation out there. What I urge you guys as the host of the Locked On Steelers podcast to do is to not try to get bottled up in any of the speculation. I was putting that out there just to say some of the theories that have been floating out, but everything that we've heard so far are theories. The only thing we know from the reporting that we've seen is that it happened during a treatment on Wednesday. He was put in the hospital overnight. Mike Tomlin says he's comfortable. You just saw Alex Highsmith talking about it and that situation. So your hope that TJ Watt is healthy, and that's the biggest concern there. But Josh, on the football side of things, this is the Locked On Steelers podcast. They have a big game Monday night. I wouldn't say it's must win, because they did pick up a game on the Ravens, and I feel like with the Ravens schedule, they might just need to win 2 more games. But still, if they were going to win this game, it would give them a big boost down the stretch, because the Ravens also beat the Dolphins earlier this year. So common opponents, this would really help you. But Josh, I mean, this is a Dolphins team that loves to run to the perimeter, and that's where having really good outside linebackers really helps. And not having TJ Watt to be part of a full your full brigade of outside linebackers could be a real hurt piece in this matchup.
Especially when you're facing a team like the Dolphins that like to run the ball. Matter of fact, the way the Dolphins are playing, it might render that whole the Dolphins can't play in cold weather thing, it might render that moot in this particular situation, because they'd be coming here on a Monday night playing here in December, and that is something that normally should work in your favor. But the way the Dolphins play, it may not matter, especially if they can find the edge. And we talk about this after a game where they give up a lot of rushing yards to the Ravens and still won. But at the same time, we're talking about a much different situation. We're talking about a much different team, a much different scenario. And the difference is they had TJ Watt against Baltimore. If you don't have him against Miami, the whole tenor of that situation changes. And not only that, but now you're talking about a situation where you've got a team in the Dolphins has also been winning some games recently. It's not like they showed up and they're just picking them out here and there. This is a team that's actually started to put some things together when a lot of people left them for dead, myself included, in October. But here they come winning games, and they're not mathematically out of this thing yet. They're not playing like a team that's mathematically out of this thing yet. They're playing like a team that's trying to stay in this thing and maybe try to jump ahead in this thing. And that's considering the fact that you got other teams like Kansas City that are kind of hanging on the fringe out here, and they're dangling by a thread. So, and then you got Cincinnati, who's pretty much almost like left for dead. So if you're Miami, you're looking at this as an opportunity to really jump ahead and solidify yourself in this playoff race. I say all that to say this. When you're the Steelers and you're looking at this game as a great opportunity to jump ahead, like you mentioned, to stay ahead of Baltimore, it does make you feel a little bit more confident to hear somebody like Alex Highsmith just use it in terms of we hope he can play, as in terms of it doesn't matter right now, we hope he's okay. That's a good sign, I would say, because it guys know when it's serious, because when it's serious, they're just like, look, we're not even talking about football. We just want our guy to be all right. That's how you know it's a serious problem. So that is something that's a little bit more comforting to know that they're not using that exact tone yet. Would it be great to have TJ Watt? Absolutely. I think that's the thing that probably puts this defense in a better position to try to shut down Miami's run game. And losing him does make that hard for sure.
It does. So again, the biggest priority is that you hope that TJ Watt is healthy and that there's not a serious, condition that's going to hinder his life or put him at serious risk. Though it does seem that, the feedback with him potentially being considered to be played, the fact that they haven't made a big announcement that this could be terrible, that could be a good sign that this is not a major condition, that it's something minor. They were just taking every precaution. We talked to DK Metcalf. He wouldn't get into, why he was in the hospital. But he basically said yeah, he's fine. He practiced on Thursday. We will see how things play out on this Friday practice and Saturday practice, which I'll be at this weekend to keep updates. So we'll keep you updated on TJ Watt's situation. But I want to talk about some things on offense that kind of came through when we talked to Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf today. Thursday, because I think there were some good signs that this offense is maturing and that they're finding rhythm with some of the vets that they've added to this team to try to set a new tone for what this offense can be. I'll talk about what that new tone is and then take you inside the locker room. We talked to Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf about what it could be different for this offense down the home stretch here. Stay tuned for all of that and more here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm Chris Carter here with Josh Taylor. Stick with us. We'll be right back. But first, I remind you this show is brought to you by ZocDoc. Guys, it's 2025, almost 2026, and those days of waiting for something to become a full-blown emergency before you see a doctor, they're over. No more walking it off for 6 months. No more pretending that weird shoulder stiffness is just sleeping wrong. It's time to take your health seriously, and ZocDoc makes that easier than ever. Because staying healthy is more than hitting the gym or eating right. It's about actually getting things checked out when something feels off. Using ZocDoc makes scheduling easier. Search for in-network doctors and book the right doctor in the app. No more back and forth phone calls and waiting weeks to be seen. It lets you compare providers and get real patient reviews, not ads. So stop putting off your doctor's appointments and get the care that you need by going to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. We're also brought to you by Car Gurus. Car shopping should feel exciting, not confusing. And with Car Gurus, you get the confidence that you deserve. They cut through all the noise so you can actually see the best deals on the cars that you want. Because when it comes to a big purchase, you deserve the best deal. And Car Gurus makes that whole process simple by giving you real information, real deal ratings, and more listings than anyone else, so you can shop the way that you want. Use Car Gurus deal ratings to compare cars quickly without having to guess whether the price is fair. You'll love being able to filter by everything, mileage, trim, features, so you're only seeing cars that actually fit what you need. Their price drop alerts are a lifesaver. You'll get notified the second a car you're watching becomes a better deal. Car Guru connects you with trusted dealerships for a transparent and hassle-free buying process. With over 4 million listings, the most of any major online automotive marketplace, you'll always find the best deal. Shop the way that you want with the tools, data, and unbiased deal ratings that make it easy. Buy or sell your next car today at cargurus.com. That's CARGURUS.com. CarGurus.com. Back here on the Locked On Steelers podcast, Chris Carter here with Josh Taylor of KDKA TV. Before we continue, want to get you guys up to date with a new thing that you can do to follow us along here. If you love Locked On Steelers, you can join what we call the Everydayers Clubs. We thank you for making Locked On Steelers your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Steelers with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonsteelers.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. Josh, let's continue our talk here. Last week, Aaron Rodgers told me when I asked him about why isn't the deep ball working, what are the things that you guys have to improve at to make it happen? Because before that, it had been 4 straight games of no passes of 20 yards or more downfield being completed for 4 straight games, and all of a sudden they could go 4 for 4 on such passes in this game. And Aaron Rodgers, when I asked him that, and I think I played that clip last week, talked about the details and the receivers running the right routes and getting the right releases and the right timing of things and the spacing of things. And it was kind of just like it was a long answer where I think a lot of people kind of just brushed past it. I kind of took notes on it. I was like, okay, I see what he's saying here, but at the same time, hit your guys when you get a chance. But then, they get Adam Thielen, during the week. He's thrust into the role as a starter. Marquez Valdes-Scantling gets thrust into several formation, and all of a sudden, they get some of those things to connect. And I wanted to ask Aaron Rodgers if that played a role in what was better. And he gave an interesting answer that kind of confirmed that thought. Here's Aaron Rodgers when we talked to him in the Steelers locker room on Thursday.
Aaron, last week you talked about with the details of with the passing game. You talked about guys getting off their routes, running, doing a lot of the specifics right. What did Adam and MVS do to really help you guys in that aspect? How many kind of those details were they able to knock out that refined a lot of the concepts you guys have been trying to call?
Well, I kind of said that after the game. You can't be fooled by the stat lines for either of those two guys because just their presence out there and them being in the right spot every single time makes a big difference as far as spacing goes. Allows for the timing of plays to kind of flow in rhythm. And, we had a lot of good things go our way in the passing game, but no sacks. Obviously has a lot to do with the offensive line, but another part of the sacks is, everybody on the same page. I don't feel like we had many plays where 10 guys, 9 guys doing it right, and 1 or 2 guys are not doing it right. And, you got to give credit to those guys for the way they prepared. They're pros. They've played a lot of football at a high level, so I wasn't surprised. But definitely helps with the passing game when everybody's in the right spot every single time.
So Aaron Rodgers kind of acknowledging, the vets came in and they did what they've been asking to do. And Josh, before I get your thoughts, I want to play DK Metcalf because I asked him about Aaron's answer there, and he kind of confirmed it, which I thought was interesting. Here's DK Metcalf when I was talking to him as well.
Aaron talked about the details from MVS and from Adam and how them being able to just be in the same place every time that you guys needed them was so important. Can you talk about what that does for you guys as a whole when you're executing different passing concepts?
Yes, sir. Well, I think it just speaks as the caliber of players they are for them to get here, know that they're going to be elevated on like a Thursday. And then for them to, get themselves ready, I thought was a big deal. They stayed here, late after everybody was leaving, and made sure that they were on the details. They asked a lot of questions. So I think it spoke to, the professionals they are more than anything.
The professionalism, something that DK Metcalf wanted to highlight there. Josh, there's something I said after the game. I was like, I don't have even before I looked at the all-22, I'm like, I don't have the all-22, but I wonder if those guys running the routes the specific types of way did help everything pan out.
It comes back to the discussion that we've heard for a couple of years now. It's not just going into this season, throughout the season, for a couple of years now. There's that need for a WR2. Who's the WR2? You need a WR2. And here's why I think a lot of that discussion is flawed from some people. Because some people look at that as you need a WR2 because he has to put up these number of catches and get this number of targets and maybe this number of yards to score this number of touchdowns. For me, that's not what it was. For me, it was you need a guy who makes it easier for your wide receiver 1 to do his job. That's what it becomes. It's not even about the name as much as it is about the function. Now you have 2 guys come in both Thielen and Valdes-Scantling, who can actually provide that function of being the wide receiver 2, of making the wide receiver 1's job easier. and you saw it from the opening snap for this offense. So for Aaron Rodgers to suggest that before these guys get here, then you see the results, and then you see both he and DK Metcalf, who is the wide receiver one, benefiting from this situation, both alluding to, hey, we might have found what we're looking for to make things better here. You start finding all these pieces of evidence, and it starts adding up to something. And I think that's exactly what we're looking at. I don't think it becomes, hey, this offense becomes a solved puzzle immediately. I'm not ready to go there. But if it does make the smaller things easier, making the deep ball easier to dial up when you need it, maybe taking a little bit more pressure off of DK Metcalf, maybe there isn't a safety shading over the top as often as you might have seen in weeks past. Or maybe it creates a situation where they have to really respect both sides of the field from a wide receiver standpoint, because maybe it opens up the run game, because let's not kid ourselves. That's still something that needs to happen here in the next couple of weeks. You can't go into late December and even, God forbid, January without being able to run the football. So you hope that there is more than one residual effect, but to get that one starting out when you haven't seen it in over a month, almost a month and a half, it's a pretty good start.
I agree. And I think you need something to click. And it's another question that I didn't get to cut up that I asked of DK Metcalf. I asked about, them being able to turn it on. And he said, look, it's good that we found it, but he's like, but we don't need to turn things off. We need to have everything on all the time. And I get that the sense from him that there's an urgency from DK Metcalf and from this whole team, that they're like, hey, it's crunch time. If we want to make a run, we got to do things better. And I think it's a good thing that they're finding that. I think that the connecting on the deep ball, which is something that they really struggled with for, a month, could be a good sign. If they're able to connect in the run game and get things going there this week, that'll be a good sign. You combine, and then imagine if they got both going at the same time. That's when you become dangerous. And that's honestly what I think that the hope was for this team, was that they could run the ball, use that to set up the passing game, and vice versa. And then you'll have a balanced look that'll be really tough for people to stop. I think there's something there for sure, but they got to actually put it on tape when they can do both at the same time. Certainly that was not the case this past week.
Yeah, that's 100% true, especially with the run game. There's a lot that we either talk about or we expect in theory. And there's been quite a bit of that throughout the season, whether it's been certain things in the elements of the run game that we've expected in theory that haven't manifest themselves, or certain things in the pass game, as far as the wide receiver position, maybe even getting certain tight ends involved that catch pass as well. Mm-hmm. That's something we've expected in theory that really hasn't happened as far as Pat Freiermuth. So you're hoping that we step out of theory and it starts becoming practical. You hope that they start figuring these things out, because the one thing you want to be going into this part of the season, especially when you need your offense to be more efficient, more importantly, more efficient in the fourth quarter to close out games, you need to be a more efficient and more balanced offense. And sometimes balanced offenses win games, because balanced offenses can still move the ball in the fourth quarter. They'll be efficient in the first three. They can get you points in the first and second quarter. They might get you a lead, but a balanced offense can also win you a game when you need to win a game and you don't want the other team touching the ball. A balanced offense sometimes is the reason why you're ending the game with the ball, as opposed to ending the game with the other team having the ball and maybe failing to score, or scoring and maybe winning the game. So if you can figure that part of it out, and I know people want everything to be perfect every week right away. That's really not how things work in the course of a season every year, because injuries happen. You might lose this guy. You might lose that guy. Big parts of game plans might be missing. So the sooner you figure it out, of course, is the better. But if you can still figure it out before you really need it, it's never too late to sort these things out, especially when you're in the position they're in, knowing that if you can finish this job the way you need to, you get a home playoff game, and if everything's clicking, then you feel a lot better going into it.
No, I'm right with you. And to your point about, the amount of plays they have the football and having that balanced attack, the Steelers have the worst time of possession in the NFL. They've had it for the fewest plays in the NFL. Their opponents have had it for the most plays of any team in the NFL. They need to balance that out, because also they're leaving their defense out there and they're getting tired and they're getting hurt, and you gotta back them up. You got to possess the football. I do think that's going to be a key for this week on top of other things here. But, part of it's also getting those details down, like Aaron Rodgers has been trying to get guys to do, like DK Metcalf has been trying to get guys to do. We'll talk more about that as things move on. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we do want to give you our Week 15 NFL picks, even though Steelers play Monday night, and we'll give you our predictions for that game on Monday night. But stay tuned for more here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. Chris Carter, Josh Taylor, stick with us. We'll be right back. But first, remind you that this show is brought to you by Prize Picks. With Prize Picks, the holiday season is one of the best times for sports because you got bowl games, big basketball matchups, playoff pushes, and it's all happening all at once. And while we're making choices every single day, one of the most fun places to make the right call is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the easiest way to get in on daily fantasy, and you can pick just more or less on at least 2 player stat projections, lock in your lineup, and you're playing the game. It's simple, fast, and available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Creating a lineup takes less than a minute, and the app makes the whole process smooth and intuitive. You can choose from a huge range of unique stats, fantasy score, field goals attempts, free throws made, turnovers, whatever fits your strategy. The early payout feature is a great bonus. When your lineup starts strong, you may get the option to cash out early. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. We're back here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. Chris Carter here with Josh Taylor. Josh, I know normally on Friday we give an update on the standings here in the Locked On Steelers ESPN Pick'em League. We now have 348 people playing along with us all year. And shout out to the person who's in first place right now. That's N Sprizzle 43 with 145 correct picks on the season. I'm 15 games behind that person, but I did pick up 2 games last week on Jenna Harner. Still 10 games back on it though. We got a long ways to go here, Josh. It's been a rough season.
Here's my ESPN picks. It might be hard to figure out, but you said you had how many behind the guy that's in first place? How many behind Jenna? Because I'm 114 and 94. I'm above room temperature, as I used to always say on my Sunday morning show. I'm not on Jenna's level.
I'm 130 and 78. So hey, you're having an even rougher year than me. It's all right. It's all right. So basically, don't pick what we pick. Call Jenna up and pick what she picks, because that's probably what's going to win her. She wished she could be here. She had some things pop up, but she has 140 correct picks right now. So she's.
I keep asking you, why do you keep doing this to me when Jenna's not here? You know how good Jenna's been doing this. You keep bringing me over, she's not here.
Hey man,
I don't know why you do this to yourself, but okay.
I need a confidence boost. That's why you're here.
Oh, okay. I get it. Glad to help you out, my friend.
There we go. But let's get into the games on Sunday. As always, all the odds, ends, and lines are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook in America. Let's start off with 1 p.m. Sunday. Jets go on the road to play the Jaguars. Jets out of the playoff picture. Jaguars fighting for that 3 seed right now. They're 13.5-point favorites. Give me the Jaguars and the points. I think they maul these guys.
Jaguars and the points for me too. They are on a roll. Trevor Lawrence looks like the Trevor Lawrence we remember, where he was the #1 recruit in the country and the #1 overall pick. He looks like that dude now. And the Jets look like a defense that can't stop that dude. So yeah, give me the Jaguars and points.
Moving right along, Cardinals at Texans, a 9.5-point spread. The Texans, of course, being home favorites there. Give me the Texans and the points again here. The Texans, they've earned their way into the playoff picture. They're the 7th seed as things stand right now with the AFC playoffs at 8-5. They have the tiebreaker currently over the Colts, and they're fighting there. Their defense is playing on another level, and I think that's why they're going to win this game easily.
I love what Houston's doing defensively. That defense is fun. Arizona may not score a point in this game. I like the Texans too.
Game of the week here, potentially right here. Bills at Patriots. The Bills are actually 1.5-point favorites on the road in this one, according to FanDuel Sportsbook. But it's the Patriots who are tied for the top record in the NFL right now at 11-2 with the Broncos. The Broncos have a tiebreaker over them because they have one more conference win at 7-2 in the conference versus the Patriots at 6-2. But the Patriots officially the 2 seed, the Bills officially the 6th seed right now. This is one I went back and forth on, but give me Drake May and the Patriots at home finding a way to win this one. I think they've been a more complete team than the Bills this year, and I think it's going to show in this game.
Patriots a 1.5-point underdog at home. What did Public Enemy tell you? Can't trust it. Give me the 1.5 at home for the Patriots. I'll take that every day.
Chargers at Chiefs. Chiefs are 5.5-point favorites at home, which, man, I know Arrowhead's a tough place to play, but the way the Chiefs are playing, it has a hard time for me committing to that right now, man. The Chargers just beat Philly in a very tough, close game. Give me the Chargers to do so again, walking into Arrowhead, and probably with this win, they would ice out the Chiefs, and the Chiefs would be out of the playoff picture in Week 15, which would just be crazy talk, I think, to most people who thought that who said like that could never happen.
You know what makes you a dangerous team in December and January? If you can win games ugly.
Yeah,
the Chargers have won some ugly games. And it feels like it's Jim Harbaugh's MO ever since he showed up in LA. Like there's some games that are going to look great, but there's some games that are going to win ugly. And we're okay with it. And they should change it to who's got it uglier than us? Nobody, because the Chargers might go into Arrowhead and win another ugly one. Give me the Chargers plus 5.5. Sure.
Right there with you. I think that's a really good bet right there. Moving along here. Raiders at Eagles. It's the Kenny Pickett Bowl because he's set to start for the Raiders in this one. The Eagles are 11.5-point favorites here. Give me the Eagles, and there's part of me that feels like the 11.5-point spread. Maybe the Raiders find a way to cover. I'm sorry though. I think the Eagles are going to have enough of their mojo in Philly against a Las Vegas team, and I think they're going to blow these guys out the water.
There may be only one team whose fan base may be more frustrated with their team than the Steelers, and it might be the Eagles, which is crazy to think. I'm going to go with you with this one too, but this is the one I'm going to keep the closest eye on because we've seen the Eagles in these past couple weeks not only lose games that they had big leads in, but the way they did it was kind of suspect. I agree with you because they're facing the Raiders. The Raiders have won 2 games, and their quarterback situation is bad. So Philly's defense should be able to get things together. So, yeah, Philly minus 11.5, yes, but with a very stern eye on that game.
Nice. I know I said Bills Patriots was your game of the week for the Steelers, but man, it's tough to ignore Ravens at Bengals. Ravens are 2.5-point favorites on the road. But Josh, they're going into Cincy on a 1 p.m. Sunday. They just lost to Cincy at home on Thursday Night Football. We watched the Falcons just beat the Buccaneers at home on Thursday Night Football. I'm sorry, I'm going with the Bengals. I know they're 2.5-point dogs at home, but I think that they're a bit hotter than the Ravens, and that's going to matter. And they're going to find a way to win.
To a team that won by 18 on the road is now a 2.5-point dog at home. Don't threaten me with a good time. And you might have a more motivated Joe Burrow just based on what he said this past week. Cincinnati, please. Bold in italics for sure.
Would be a big boost for the Steelers if the Bengals could get the win too. Commanders at Giants. Giants are 2.5-point favorites here. Josh, this is kind of a toilet bowl right now between these two teams because neither are really in a position to do anything. In fact, these are the 2 lowest records in the NFC right now. The Giants at 2-11, the Commanders at 3-10. So really just a bottom of the bottom here. Just give me the Giants because I have a hard time picking the Commanders right now.
Game like this, when both teams are that bad and they're equally matched in being bad, flip a coin, or you can do what you do in most situations, take the home team. Going with the Giants too.
Same here. Browns at Bears. Bears 7.5-point favorites here. All eyes will be on this game to see Myles Garrett, see where he gets. I believe he has 20 sacks right now. I think he has 20 sacks in the season, so he needs 2.5 to tie the Michael Strahan set record and the one that TJ Watt tied just a few years ago. So we'll see if he does that. But I don't care about that, and I don't care about Shedeur Sanders' success. As far as changing my pick, I think the Bears find a way to win at home.
I think the Bears find a way to win at home too, but 7.5 points?
It's a lot.
kind of makes me think twice. Especially you mentioned Myles Garrett. You talked about Shedeur Sanders. There's some stuff Cleveland's still trying to figure out.
Yep.
And if there's any guy who might be able to slow down what the Bears are doing on offense, it's probably Myles Garrett. And if there's some guy who's crazy enough just to keep the Browns in it out of pure spite, it might be Shedeur Sanders. I like the Bears to win, but I still like the Browns to cover the 7.5. So I'm taking the Browns to cover on the road.
Well, here's another big spread for you. The Niners host the Titans. The Niners are 12.5-point favorites according to FanDuel. The Titans are in a rough spot. They just beat the Browns in Cleveland. I think the Niners roll these guys, and maybe you don't need a 12.5. Maybe I don't go with the 12.5 points here, but I feel like the Niners are just that much better of a team than the Titans.
Yeah, you line these two rosters up. You're going San Francisco even in a blind taste test. You're going to take the old Pepsi challenge. I will go with San Francisco for that particular reason. For some odd reason, they've had injuries and it hasn't mattered. They're still 9-4, and they're really starting to figure things out. They're kind of creeping up on people, kind of forgotten about the Niners. Hey, they're still in this playoff race, and they can make some noise. So, yeah, give me the Niners too.
Another big potential game of the week option right here. Lions at Rams. Rams are 5.5-point favorites at home, and give me them because I don't like the way the Lions are playing right now, Josh. When I look at the Lions, they've forced themselves out of the playoff picture. They're officially in the hunt, quote unquote. But it's because they've been back and forth. They have not won back-to-back games since late September going into early October when they beat the Browns and the Bengals. But ever since then, it's been loss to the Chiefs, win versus the Buccaneers, loss to the Vikings, win versus the Commanders, loss to the Eagles, win versus the Giants, loss to the Packers, win versus the Cowboys. Literally going back and forth, and I think that they continue that trend as they lose to the Rams, which doesn't bode itself well for the Steelers because they'll be the team that comes after the loss, which means they're probably going to, if they follow the trend they've been on for like the past month and a half, 2 months, it won't be a good spot for the Steelers, and maybe they get a big play. But give me in this one, I think that that the Rams do win at home, and I think they'll cover as well.
We're talking about the Lions being a back and forth type team. You want to talk about one of the more solid, consistent teams in the league this season? It might be the Rams.
It might be the Rams.
they are a well-oiled machine. Two teams I look at and I go, man, they are mind-numbingly efficient. And for a while, before they faced the Steelers and they kind of dismantled that whole thing, I thought the Colts were one of those teams. But on the NFC side of things, it's Seattle and the Rams. And the Rams, right now, they are clicking. So you're talking about one of the more back-and-forth teams against one of the more steady, efficient teams. I'm going to take the steady, efficient team, especially at home. So give me the Rams.
Moving right along, NFC South showdown. The Saints just spoiled the party for the Buccaneers last week. They now host the Panthers. The Saints, the Panthers are 2.5-point road favorites. Give me the Panthers. I think they do just enough to keep staying above water.
Am I a Carolina Panthers fan now? Am I rooting for them to win games? Because they're doing this thing. And my favorite thing every week now is to see the Carolina Panthers meme on Twitter with John Daly and Tiger Woods. Mm-hmm. And the Panthers with John Daly and Tiger Woods is the Chiefs. I'm loving that. But at the same time, the Panthers have this like second-year Lions under Dan Campbell thing to them where it's like we will die before we lose games and they will walk across hot coals and crawl on broken glass. They have that feeling to them. It won't be that difficult with the Saints, clearly. But the Panthers have a feel to them, and I just love this vibe. So, yeah, give me the Panthers.
Another game of the week category here. I'm also going with the Panthers, by the way. Another game of the week category here. The Packers on the road to play the Broncos. The Packers are 2.5-point road favorites in this one, but the Broncos defense has been for real in this one. In this season, I think it's gonna be interesting. The Broncos also currently hold the 1 seed in the AFC, while the Packers hold the 2 seed in the NFC. Could this be a Super Bowl preview? Maybe, but the Packers are 2.5-point favorites, and I like the Broncos defense, but I like the Packers more in this one.
I like the Broncos in this one at 2.5, specifically because it's 2.5. And don't get me wrong, there are times where I look at the Broncos, I'm going, what are you? Are you serious? Are you legit, or are you a fraud? I think this defense plus 2.5 at home can get at the very least a close cover or even a win. So I'm going Broncos plus 2.5.
Colts at Seahawks, another Sunday afternoon, late afternoon game. Seahawks are 13.5-point favorites because of the quarterback situation in Indy. Give me the Seahawks, and I think it's not even that close.
Remember what we talked about a month and a half ago, and I told you, is Mike McDonald a Coach of the Year candidate?
Yep. And
I'm fully saying he is. I'm not asking the question anymore. Seattle plays some really good mistake-free football. I love watching what they do. On offense, they can stretch you and make you do some things you didn't plan on doing. Defense, they're just solid and they're stout. I like Seattle.
Final pick here, as it's the Sunday night football game. Remember, Dolphins play the Steelers Monday night, so we'll have more on that on Monday's show. But the Vikings on the road play the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 6.5-point favorites. This could be a game where it lights it up, or both sides light it up, or one side lights it up. But bottom line is there'll be some serious weapons in this game. We'll keep you up to date with all of things here. But again, 6.5-point favorites for the Cowboys. I'm going with the Cowboys, Josh. I feel like the Vikings, they've cooled off by a lot.
I'm going with the Cowboys because I don't know what the Vikings are.
Right.
You never know what they are every other week. It's so strange. And the Cowboys, when they're clicking, they are clicking, man. And I thought that loss to the Lions kind of showed some cracks in the facade, but they somehow find ways. Just when you think they're done, they keep fighting their way through it. So yeah, give me the Cowboys.
There you have it. All our Week 15 picks except for Steelers-Dolphins. We'll get you those picks on Monday's episode of the Locked On Steelers podcast. Josh, thanks so much for joining us. Let people know they can find you, follow you, and get more of your work.
Just about every social media platform, Josh Taylor HD. That is the thing to do. On the TV side of things, KDKA TV News, whether it's in the field, whether it is at the anchor desk, that is where you'll find me, especially coming up here in the next couple weeks. Big announcement coming as far as my future assignment here coming, but I'm not going to spoil that yet. Just stay tuned. It's coming. You'll find out soon. You'll know exactly where to find me and when.
Absolutely. Do follow Josh. He does great work. We thank him for every time he comes on this show. Thank you, Josh. But thank you all for joining us here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. My name is Christopher Carter. We'll have updates on TJ Watt this weekend, so stay tuned for any emergency updates that I give on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all the different places. And of course, we'll have a final episode update and preview for our episode that comes out on Monday, getting you ready for Monday Night Football. Make sure you subscribe and follow me at Carter Critiques on Apple, Twitter, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, all the places. I'm there at Carter Critiques. You can, and if Locked On Steelers made your Spotify Wrapped, please post it on social media, and you'll get a chance to secure a free month in what's our new Everydayer Club, where you get our podcast ad-free. If you're part of the Everydayers Club, just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on X or on any social platform, and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayers Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel only. Here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. I'm Chris Carter. See you here this weekend or Monday here on the Locked On Steelers podcast.